In this video, I'll be describing how I keep all my system stuff and documents backed up with my rather unconventional system and without using any cloud-based services. I have a desktop PC that I use for daily activities like surfing the web, creating documents, editing photos and videos, as well as for my music production in my home studio. Inside the PC, I have a number of drives. First up, I have my system drive, a Kingston 2 terabyte M2 NVMe drive. It houses Windows 10, all my software, and my Music Studio sample libraries. Next up, I have two SATA hard drives, an older 6 terabyte drive and a newer 8 terabyte drive, which are spanned together in Windows to create a huge 14 terabyte drive. This is for my documents, photos, music, videos, and music production files. Finally, I have an older 3 terabyte SATA drive that I salvaged from my dad's old PC that I use for daily backups. To back up my system drive, I use Acronis TrueImage 2020. I set up a daily incremental backup scheme, meaning that every day Acronis saves an image of the drive that reflects only what's been changed on the drive since the last full backup, which takes place every 5 days. This is fine since my C drive doesn't change very much from day to day. Acronis TrueImage is fantastic, and since I've been using it the last few years, it's saved my butt a few times already. I have a USB key that launches the Acronis Restore program in case Windows just won't boot up, and I can easily pull the backup from the previous day and be back up and running exactly like before, like nothing ever happened. The whole process takes about 30 minutes, which is almost always better than trying to troubleshoot what happened to my system if things go awry. The Acronis files are saved to my internal 3 terabyte drive. Of course, Windows, programs, and samples are all recoverable by reinstalling Windows and other programs if I absolutely have to. The really crucial files are my working documents, music production files and recordings, and photos and videos. Years ago, I had PC failures that resulted in the loss of all my personal files. This was before I started backing up. I feel like it's a lesson that everyone has to learn the hard way. I back up my documents to an external drive regularly, like once every few weeks, especially after finishing a project or after a photo shoot or video shoot. For the last few years, I had a 6 terabyte internal drive and a 6 terabyte external drive. I use the free SyncBack software to manually run this backup. I mirror the drive so that anything I've deleted from my documents is also deleted from my backup drive. SyncBack scans both drives and only copies files that are modified or new. I unplug the external drive and set it aside until the next backup. Not as ideal as backing up offsite, but so far I haven't burned down my entire office in one go. But still, backing up every few weeks is far from ideal. I needed a way to make daily backups to my spare internal drive just in case a file got corrupted or screwed up and I needed yesterday's copy. Windows built-in backup program didn't work for me because my documents were over 5 terabytes and my internal backup drive was only 3 terabytes. Windows couldn't make the first backup to even start the service. I scoured the internet for free or paid software that could scan my documents for any files created or modified today and copy only those files to the internal backup drive with the folder structure intact. I couldn't find any program that could do this for me, so I resorted to hiring a programmer on Fiverr who wrote me a Python script to do exactly what I wanted. His script even created a text log file documenting all the files that were copied that day. The program creates a dated folder in the backup drive and copies all new or changed files that day. But it copied the entire folder structure of my documents drive instead of just the folders containing the copied files. So I found another short batch script I could use to delete the empty folders. I use Windows Task Scheduler to run these processes in the middle of the night. A few months ago, my 6 terabyte documents drive was getting quite full. I started to contemplate how my backups were going to work moving forward. After doing some research into the myriad of drive types for sale these days, from NAS drives to surveillance drives to standard computer drives, it seemed if you wanted a really high capacity drive, like 14 or 16 terabytes, you had to go with a very expensive NAS drive or other premium type. Then I discovered how to span multiple physical drives in Windows to create a single drive. So I bought a Seagate Compute drive, a standard drive for regular computers, with the highest capacity available of 8 terabytes. I added this to my 6 terabyte drive, and voila, I now have a single 14 terabyte drive, as far as Windows sees it. Then came the issue of my backup drive, which of course remained at 6 terabytes and was quickly becoming full. I heard about Backblaze, an online backup service, from a friend, and it looked really appealing. Unlimited storage, online access to your files, and they even ship you a hard drive with all your files for free if you need it, as long as you send the drive back. Pretty neat service, and could be my backup solution moving forward. But then I did the math. I upgraded from a 3 terabyte drive to a 6 terabyte drive in 2018, 5 years ago. So it took me 5 years to fill up 3 terabytes of files. At this rate, if I bought a 16 terabyte external drive, it would take me 16 years to fill it up. A 16 terabyte drive runs about $350 Canadian, minus the $50 I could get for selling my old external drive. But 16 years worth of using Backblaze would cost me $1,440. Let's even say 10 years, because 5 years ago I wasn't shooting much 4K video, but nowadays I do shoot some, not a lot, but some, and those files are huge. Even 10 years of Backblaze would run me $900, 3 times the cost of a large external hard drive. Yes, Backblaze would give me online access to files if I wasn't at home and I needed access, but that hardly ever happens. And the few times I wanted access to my files remotely, it was always a would be nice situation rather than a I absolutely need this situation. Plus, if the worst ever happened and I lost everything on my PC, it would take only several hours to restore it all from my external drive. How many days would it take for Backblaze to send me a hard drive of all my stuff? In the end, Backblaze seems like a great service, but not worth the high cost for me. Maybe someday I'll back up everything in the cloud, but for now, my external drive will suffice just fine. So that's my less than conventional backup system. I can safely say it's saved me several times over the last couple of years, but here's the thing. When something goes wrong and you end up losing files permanently or really struggle to get your system back up and running, you tend to remember how hard it was. But when you have a reliable, robust, and easy backup system, when something goes wrong and within a short while you're back up and running, you tend to forget it even happened. You just restore your system or your files and get on with your work. So whatever your backup system is, just make sure you've got one. Thanks for watching.